Hello. Seven, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we just made it. So is my microphone on? Can you hear me? Perfect.
I'm never cold.
It's very chilly.
It's a little chilly.
You need your winter
I need my winter talis.
talit. That's it.
I actually have that in my office. Winter talit.
349.
But I feel like I've gotten back to my office 6 times in the past 6 minutes. Can't find anything.
Go.
Thank you.
So you can read it. Oh, 349.
No, man, fizz.
Oh, that was whole.
Yeah, that was a little much.
Right.
We'll go winter.
920. I know I want about 3 talit. That's what I need. I need teleteam,
Can't find my
teleseam.
I'm misplacing my talis.
There was a blue one.
Yeah.
Oh.
The blue one's my talit katan.
Ah.
Smaller one. I love that one. But I'm wearing black today, so I'm black and white. But I'm not kippah coordinating today, which I try to do.
Oh, very nice.
So
That is very nice.
I'm off because this is all green and blue, and nothing I'm wearing is green and blue. A little persnickety.
That's all right. A lot of gray, though. It's picking up the grays
Yeah, I'm
and
saying,
there we
that'll
are.
work.
Mhm. That's it.
Okay. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
And Shabbat shalom at home. If you have your heat on at home, you're probably lucky because we're a little chilly in the synagogue at this point. And when I say it's cold, you know it's a little cold. But it's great to be here. We can warm our hearts with Shabbat joy if we cannot warm our hands. Let's welcome Shabbat and that sense of community that we all strive to feel on Shabbat. Hine Ma Tov, page 128.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Hine matovo manayim. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Let's all turn to each other and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And at home, Shabbat Shalom and Shabbat Shalom. Let's turn back to page 120 and 121 for lighting of candles and Kiddush. We call up Rich and Andrea Feldman to light the candles and sanctify the wine. Let's come on forward and let's all rise together.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And on page 122.
Heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Hooray, Puri Hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. It's not a fine Merlot. It's grape juice. Let's take our seats. In the middle of page 124, let's read responsively. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Let's turn now to page 138 and 139 for the singing of Lecha Dodi, this mystical prayer, which we welcome Shabbat as a queen, as a bride. We're going to be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 7, and 9. And then the final verse, we'll rise together and face the door to greet the Sabbath bride.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela, day, day, day. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה, די, 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם ניסוחה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, הלך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה, די, 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה, די, 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה, די, 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת. נקבלה.
Let's turn now to page 145. On the bottom of the page, Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. On the next page, the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Yalla lie lie lie, 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 yalla lie lie lie. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
Let's take our seats. On page 148, let's continue together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhmah poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom u'mevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom u'ven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. On page 151, at the top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Together. Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Let's rise together for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam olam vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Let's take our seats. We're on page 154 as we continue together with V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantan levanecha vidibarta bam beshivdecha bevetecha uvlektecha vaderech uvshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mizuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitam et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
On page 157, in the middle of the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth together.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
On the next page, Mi Chamocha.
Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai lai, ya lai la lai lai, yai lai la la lai, ya la lai la lai, ya lai lai. Mi chamocha ba elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי לי, יאי לה 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 לה, יאי לי לי, יא לי לי לי, יא לי, יא לי לי, יאי לי לה לה לה, יא לה לי לה 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 לה.
We now turn to page 160 as we continue with Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, V'hamidenu Shomereinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, V'hamidenu Shomereinu L'chaim. Ushmor tetzeinu uvoenu lechaim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, V'hamidenu Shomereinu L'chaim. Yai la lai la lai lai lai, yai la lai la lai lai lai, yai la lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai.
Throwing those lilacs on me.
I know, it's nice.
We're on page 162 as we continue, as we rejoice in the gift of Shabbat, as we continue with Vishamru.
Vishamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein B'nai Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shomro B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'shomru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash. Ve'shomro B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Indeed.
Thank you for that
tried.
assist. It was
Yes.
very nice.
Okay, we're on page 165 as we rise together. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you.
Whoops, excuse me. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu, ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיע ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Let's turn to page 175. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ira na'avod. On page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, together for the awareness of soul, our life within.
For the world around us so filled with beauty.
For the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us.
For all these and more we offer thanks.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. My friends, the United Nations General Assembly designated today, January 27th, as International Holocaust Remembrance Day, choosing the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau to be a date of solemn reflection and sacred memory. It is a time when all UN member states are urged to honor the 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust and the millions of other victims of the Nazis. So joining with communities around the world, we now take a moment to recall the memories of all those who perished during the Holocaust. We turn to page 525. And let's read together this really, I think, powerful reading. In the presence of eyes which witnessed the slaughter, which saw the oppression the heart could not bear, and as witnessed the heart that once taught compassion until the days came to pass that crushed human feeling, I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember, not once to forget. Forget not one thing to the last generation, when degradation shall cease, to the last, to its ending, when the rod of instruction shall have come to conclusion. An oath, not in vain passed over the night of terror. An oath, no morning shall see me at flesh pots again. An oath, lest from this we learned nothing. We now continue with El Malei Rachamim. Let's rise together.
El Malei Rachamim shochen bamromim. המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים את נשמות כל העלינו בני ישראל, אנסים נשים וילדים וילדות, שנטבחו ושנשחטו ושנשרפו ושנהרגו באושוויץ, בבלזק, בברגן-בלזן, בדכאו, במיידניק, במאוטהאוזן, בסוברבור, בטרבלינקה ובשאר החנות בשם, בגן עדן דהי מנוחתה, לכן בעול הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפה לעולמים, ויצרו החיים את נשמתיהם, אדוני הוא נחלתה. וינוחו משכבותם בשלום, ונאמר Amen.
May all of their memories be for a blessing. Together we say Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. And we move now to a prayer for peace on page 178, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov b'neicha yivarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Let's turn now to page 371 as we take a moment to think of those in our lives, our family, friends, members of our community who are in need of healing. We take them into our hearts as we wish them the blessings of healing, the blessings of love, support, of compassion, of kindness, and hopefully a return to health. So on page 371, let's continue together, middle of the page, Misha Beirach.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו, may the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We think of at this moment Pat Adamson, Aidan John Ashley, Raymond Douglas Alcorn, Dr. Marty Bilo, Evan Bin, Frankie Clement, Ann Cole, Mark Edelstein, Mickey Edelstein, Benjamin Edelstein, and Brian Edelstein, Danielle Heyman Feist, Eric Fisk, Z Fisk, Philip Gelman, Bob Gold and Carolyn Gold, Jennifer Gousset, Barbara Green and Buddy Green, Marvin Hollander, Stuart J., Robert Jaffe, Lori Cattleman, Doris Kirshner, Wendy Sugarman Krosnoff, Hank Corin, Michael Lynch, Ruth Poehler, Lee Siegel and Stacy Siegel, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, Fred Truax, Norman Gross, and Elsa Mikosh. Is there anyone else thinking of someone this evening for this prayer of healing? Please speak their name as my eyes meet yours. Taking these names into our hearts, those mentioned at home, we continue as we pray.
מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Let's continue with a moment of silent prayer and reflection.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto thee, O God, my rock and my Redeemer.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
So every once in a while, we mix it up a little bit and do something a little different. Instead of me presenting a Devar Torah or, a little teaching, we do something called Ask the Rabbi, where you all get a chance to ask me any question you'd like about Jewish traditions, holidays, culture, whatever you'd like, even a little current events. And I do my best to impart some Jewish wisdom, provide a little Jewish perspective. And look, I didn't even have to ask. I got Vanna White here to come into the crowd and to do that for us. And I'll do my best, and we'll see what happens. And if I don't know, I'll fake it.
Well, the other night in the class, when you were teaching about the mezuzah,
Yeah.
I had the question that I would like to ask, which is, when was the first mezuzah and the history of the mezuzah?
Oh, very nice. The history of the mezuzah. Let me get Google out for a second. So what I believe, in terms of at least the idea, the conception of the mezuzah, the first one was actually during the 10th plague in Egypt, when God asks us to put blood, the lamb's blood, on the doorposts as a protective shield, as a way of recognizing this is a Jewish home, so the angel of death is going to pass over the house, right? And so it was in this week's Parsha, no less. Thank you for that. Where exactly right, 2 points over there. That's excellent. So, yeah, so I think that would be the first one. Then we have in Deuteronomy, when we have the passage that is going to come to be known as V'ahavta, the idea of, having something on the doorposts of our house and on our gates. And that, is mezuzah. And so that comes forward as mezuzah. Now, the mezuzah we know today, it takes a little time to sort of get there, but we certainly have evidence of it pretty early on, and so we definitely know Middle Ages, we have them, set, but even before then. So the idea is biblical. It does come from the Torah, and then as it is further fleshed out, like everything else, it evolves through time. That's a really good question.
Can that
Yeah, it's on an animal skin, similar to a Torah scroll. Yeah, even in the mezuzah case. Yep.
We just did the thing for the International Holocaust Remembrance.
Yeah.
It's like a pop-up holiday. It just showed up today. I've heard of it before, and then I heard it on the radio.
I actually can answer that question. As it happens. So in the United States and in Israel, we commemorated Yom HaShoah. But in the rest of the world, they didn't celebrate or commemorate anything. And so this holiday, or this commemoration day, was created by the United Nations, not really to recognize the victims of the Holocaust, but to recognize kind of good striving over evil, because this is the date that Auschwitz was liberated. And so whereas they talk a little bit about the victims, as they need to, most of this is on, it's about raising up the soldiers that fought on behalf of the victims and all of that, but that's where that came from. So it is a, I don't know about that. Do you know that? I don't.
I think it's certainly like mentioned, but it's a much. See, there's a for us by us, which is Yom HaShoah. That's something that we built, like as a Jewish community. This is something different. And so I'm not sure how much in Israel it is commemorated. It might be acknowledged in a way because I think it's supposed to be a good gesture for obviously the Jewish community that people are taking time to mark it, in a different way. And so I think there's a longer conversation, but the short version of it is I think there's room for both. That one is ours. Yom HaShoah is sort of our day, very specific about the Jewish experience, the Jewish tragedy of, whereas this day is, while still, I believe, focused on the Jewish community, it's also a little bit more, as Beth is saying, it's a broader scope.
Well, I would say any excuse to do that is a positive excuse. But there are a lot of military bases. Also, they commemorate this day. And in Tampa, there had been it was mostly the military community that came together, as well as the international community, the ambassadors, and that's what they put on that. And often, you'll correct me, Tony and John, but I feel like most of the people who came to that were not Jewish and really received an education about what the Holocaust was and what happened. And I know both of you have spoken during that. Right.
Okay, I know what the mezuzah is, but what does the word mezuzah mean? Is there an English translation for that word?
English translation of mezuzah. That's fascinating because I'm trying to think about that, and I don't want to lie to you, so I'm going to have to wait and get back to you. That is fantastic. Because I think it's supposed to be some sort of like sign or marker, but the exact translation I think is interesting. So, yeah, no, Jackie, do you have that one in your head? No, you don't have that one either. Yeah. Well, lazuz is to move, but I don't think it has a root in movement. But that's the Zions. But yeah, it's a good question. Need Rabbi Google? Yeah, stump the rabbi. My goodness.
Actually means doorpost. Over time, it has evolved to mean the doorpost and what is affixed to it.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking about the via hafta. It's like it's the doorpost of your house and on your gates. But you're fixing something. I'm gonna have to look a little more into that, though. I want the Hebrew. I want the meat there of the Hebrew.
A follow-up to the mezuzah topic. Do you know what the earliest find archaeologically would be for the first mezuzah? Earliest find.
There are definitely findings of mezuzot on archaeological species in Israel from like rabbinic periods. Like when you go through the Jerusalem tour of the Old City, where they build up, all of Jerusalem and the Old City is essentially a new Jerusalem city. It's built on top of this older layer to tell. The original tell is Jerusalem, not Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And it's built on top. And when you go through many of these spaces, you see these spots in the doorways that used to have, that were originally for mezuzot. And then you also see that in the Qumran Dead Sea Masada area as well, that they put mezuzot on the
I think someone later had a power drill. Yeah, that's interesting.
And you see
Yeah.
it in mosaics. It's represented in many mosaics throughout Israel from that rabbinic period. So that's what, 200, 400?
Yeah, I would say 2-3 CE. 200, 300. Okay, we got Denise with a question, I see. And I see Gary with a question.
I recently went to an event where a rabbi spoke about the Kabbalah, and
Kabbalah.
yeah, what is the difference between the Zohar and the Torah?
So, the Zohar is a mystical midrash on the Torah. And so, like, we have midrashim that are interpretations of the Torah, of Jewish tradition that try to fill in the blanks. This is basically a midrash written from a mystical perspective on the Torah. And
So it's different from the regular midrash.
Yes, it's its own animal, so to speak, written in Spain by a gentleman named Moses de Leon. We know that it's Spanish because there's actually some Spanish words in the Zohar, and so it probably wasn't written by anyone in Israel at the time. He's like, and as I gaze over the land of Israel and I see all the beautiful orange trees, there were no orange trees at that point. The orange trees now, but not at that time. So you have also some hints as well. So yeah, it's a mystical interpretation. It's, again, there's a longer answer and a shorter answer, but the shorter answer is that, Kabbalah, is based on obviously all the tradition that came before it, but in a different mystical philosophical spirit that focuses on a lot of the esoteric elements of Jewish tradition. And like you have the first word in the Torah, Bereshit. That's like a book and a half of the Zohar. It's like on the first word because they're obsessed with creation and what does it mean to create. And so the Zohar itself has a lot on creation, and then there are actually also other mystical texts that have written just basically on creation.
From
Yeah, I hung in there for a while. I bought like the first 8 or 9 of them, but then there was going to be like 30 of them, and so I sort of lost the thread. But it is, by the way, a fantastic. If you have a lot of time and some money to burn, it is a fantastic translation and explanation of.
I was wondering, my brother was a member of a conservative congregation.
Mm-hmm.
They had a position called a gabbai.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in Reform we don't have that. Is there a reason for it?
I would say that goes more from synagogue to synagogue, though I agree with you in the places I've been and my experiences. I don't see it. So let me take a step back. So a gabbai, one might think of as the MC of the service, especially the Torah service, where it is somebody who helps organize the aliyot, helps give people honors for it. And I'm smiling because I'm thinking of my blessed memory, my grandfather's synagogue. There was an older gentleman like that. He loved to be the gabbai. That was his job. And he would go around before services, Shabbat Shalom, and you're shaking everyone's hand, and Rishon, Sheni, giving out all the aliyahs, Hagba, Glila, everything else. He loved it so much. I think it was a way for him to not actually have to participate in the service. Because just during the service, all he would do is run around and Shabbat Shalom, everywhere, just talking to everybody throughout the service. He was a really sweet man. And so that's a big part of the gabbai's job, is to help coordinate, the Torah service. But in traditional circles as well, the gabbai would be the one to stand next to the Torah reader. And if the Torah reader made a mistake, the gabbai would chime in. And say, no, it's not it's hopefully subtly, though some of the gabbais I've known, not so subtle about their corrections of the person's Torah reading. Because, again, according to tradition, and custom, that you can't make mistakes when you're reading the Torah. Just like when you're writing a Torah, you can't make a mistake in the scroll. So when you're reading it, you have to read it correctly, and so even a small deviation, the gabbai is supposed to catch. And so they'll have the tikkun in front of them, and they'll be able to help out if there's a mistake. But, subtlety is nice. Though God knows there's some synagogues I've been to where there are official gabbis and unofficial gabbis in the congregation who might once in a while feel the need to chime in if the Torah is not read correctly.
So I would just add to that even though we don't call them Gabbaim often, some synagogues do, but those who take on that holy responsibility of greeting and passing out the honor of Kiddush and candle lighting, they are the Gabbaim of this community. So Heather was outside, and Heather's helping to do the streaming. So thank you, Heather. You're the terrible at Hebrew grammar. Gabbot, thank you. Of tonight, I would say. And then I know it's one of those roles, just to add to the traditional spaces, in spaces where there's a machitza or that separation, one of those roles that are positions of leadership are the female gabbis, because they help provide context for the women on the women's side, and they'll help make sure that they know when to stand for the Kaddish. So it's a really special role in any synagogue, regardless of what the responsibilities are.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well said. Gabbai, Gabbaim, Gabbot. We have time maybe for one more, if we have one more question.
This isn't so much a question as a piece of information, since it is the Holocaust Remembrance Day. If anyone's interested, on Morning Joe this morning, Morning Joe was at Auschwitz reporting from there and doing it all for the whole 4-hour program, I guess, throughout. So if anyone's interested, they might want to watch it, because we watched the introduction, and it was like 20 minutes, and it was really good. He was very somber and very sensitive to the topic, and talked about it in terms of never forgetting if we want to, have a safe world. So if people wanted to watch that, it was really timely.
Appreciate that. Thank you all for your great questions, and I really appreciate it. It's always great when we get to engage in a little discussion and learn something together. So thank you for participating, and Shabbat Shalom. Let's continue. Thank you, Beth, as well, for being my roving reporter.
So happy. I love that. It's my favorite.
And we'll turn to page 586 as we rise together for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Let's take our seats.
Doesn't he usually say?
We turn to page 597. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost. The martyrs are people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We are in the Shloshim period for the memory of Richard Corwin, husband of Lois Corwin, father of Rick, Adam, Donna, Jill, and Richard is also the grandfather of 6. We're also in Shloshim for the memory of Dr. Sonia Linke, mother of Rael Slavinsky, Leah Slavinsky, and grandmother of Alyssa Bender and David Bender. So we send our condolences and our thoughts to the Corwin family and the Slavinsky family. We also think of those who passed away during this last year. Bob Mansfeld, Albert Gart, Barry Dabowski, Anne Blumenkrantz, Shirley Matler, Richard Clausen, Mary John Resch, Liesel Schick, Linda Laban Slavinsky, Jay Roth, Fran Brickman, John Conway, Michael Vereb, Janice Lederer, Bernice Lipman, Eric Adler, and Ezra Bobo. We're also observing the yahrzeit this week of Fred Abrams, Sandra Applefield, Joseph Baseman, Henry Bild, Rose Block, Helen Bruskin, Norman Corwin Jr., Solomon L. Diner, Blanche Fair, Martin E. Farber, Leonard Fisher, Bessie Frank, Peter Gart, Martin J. Ginsberg, Carl Goldberg, Vita J. Grazi, Adele Fain Green, Lillian Greenberg, Esther Guzik, Simon Haskell, Muriel L. Homler, Marilyn Adler James, Michael Joseph Castell, Nathaniel David Coronis, Bessie Lakoff, Ann Landris, Eva Levine, Samuel Lindner, Morris Lipman, Julius Malkin, Samuel Marks, Melvin Myers, Mary C. Newman, Jake M. Poller, Molly Pataker, Stephen Lewis Premack, Molly Pusick, Edward Rogeson, Martin K. Rosenfeld, Serene Babe Ross, Jan W. Ross, Estelle S. Rothstein, Anna Rubin, Milton B. Schaefer, Pearl Shifter, William Schiller, Abraham Schwartz, Michael Shapik, Benjamin Silver, Betty Solomon, Joseph Stegg, Pearl Goldberg Stein, Aaron C. Stern, Max Weinstein, and Alvin Weiss. We also take into our hearts the memories of the 7 people who were killed today in a Jerusalem synagogue. We don't have their names yet. We're still processing this very tragic, very horrific occurrence. And on this particular day as well, so we try to recall the memories of our people who have been killed because they were Jews. This is another harsh reminder of the realities right now, and so we just hope and pray for there to be calm right now in the region, and there's no more further bloodshed. But we hold up the memories of those 7 in our hearts this evening, and we keep their families in our hearts as well. Is there anyone else tonight who is saying Kaddish for any reason, who would like to mention a name? Let's rise together. Page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, bi'alma devra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush v'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, and all of the world. As together we say amen. Please be seated. It's now my pleasure to invite one of our co-presidents, Sandy Sunter, to come up for a few synagogue announcements. You just get a few today.
That's not quite a plethora, but Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to everybody in our sanctuary, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone at home. First of all, thank you, Rabbi. I love the questions and answers. I did have a question, but I couldn't remember it. Somebody asked me, and I said, I'll ask the rabbi. Thank you, Beth, for the beautiful music. And again, Maria, thank you so much. And thank you, Heather, for making our streaming possible tonight. We do have lots going on. Next Friday, we're going to have our special 4th and 5th grade students from our J Learning having their Shabbat service next Friday. So we hope everyone will come and share this. I know Heather, I believe, is the teacher. So it should be a nice evening for the families to come and, They've been working really hard. So I hope that we'll have people here to listen to them. The following night, after that, at 10:30, there's going to be a family get-together at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. And that is for families, and anyone is invited to go to that as well, and that's going to be that's next Saturday. Jewish Food Festival, Sunday, last day to order your food. So if you haven't done so, please go online, make your orders. We've got lots of good things. People have started to bake, I understand. We'll be doing kugels pretty soon. So please go ahead and what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the cabbie was on my list, but I forgot. This Sunday, cabbie is an opportunity to come and support our temple and also look at some lovely clothes, but to support our temple. The people who have owned the company give us a portion of their sales. Their clothes are lovely. What time is it? 10:30 till noon, so they will have them here. Please come and look at the clothes, possibly buy some. And is there oh, why didn't you tell me that? You could come schmooze with Jackie. That's lovely. All right, poker players, Texas Hold'em we're already getting ready for the Rabbi Treiser yearly Texas Hold'em tournament, and I don't actually see a date. But start putting your pennies away. There's going to be a first, second, and third place winners, bounty hunter prizes, which are always fun. The admission, which doesn't have it listed here, and I'm sorry, includes foods and drink, and it really is a very fun evening for anyone who enjoys coming and playing poker. You'll get the date. Oh. Thank you. Do you remember a date? Okay, sorry. Also, I want to remind about Sisterhood has a couple things that are going on. Because we did not have our dinner Eats Around the World this month because Rabbi is doing his class, we will have our first next of our Eats Around the World on February the 22nd. At Johnny's Italian Restaurant in Clearwater. That's always a really nice evening. Any woman is invited. We're not, you don't have to be a member of Sisterhood, but it really is a really fun evening. And you can let Andrea Feldman know if you would like to attend. And on February the 12th, that's a Sunday at 10 in the morning until noon, the Sisterhood is also hosting a breakfast. We'll have bagels and kugel and salmon and tuna. However, the pièce de résistance is our guest speaker, is our own Dr. Elizabeth Lobel. And she's going to talk about the healing power of music therapy. And that ought to be really, really interesting on many levels. So there's no charge. Donations will be accepted. Again, please RSVP to Andrea Feldman if you can attend to that. And the next book club is going to meet on March the 8th. It's a Wednesday, and the next book the group is going to read is Three Sisters by Heather Morris. So for those of you interested in a book club, that's the book, Three Sisters, Heather Morris, and to read it by March the 8th. Is anything I missed at this point?
I have an announcement.
Oh, come make the announcement.
I have an announcement. Hey, guess what holiday is coming up?
Tu B'Shvat.
That is true. You're right.
Oh,
that too.
that's not it?
Tu B'Shvat. Purim.
Oh.
So both Iris and I are working on this Purim spiel, but we need spielettes and spielems. So you don't have to sing, though it helps, but you don't have to sing. You just have to have a good spirit. We're going to be talking more about it, but it is Sunday, March 5th. Sunday, March 5th. We're going to be having rehearsals. It'll be so much fun. So I know, and Sandy's going to be in it, and Denise is going to be in it, and Andrea's going to be, no, there's going to be a lot of fun people. We really want you to be involved. So more information coming, but put your hat on and think about the other people who are congregants who may not always appear here on Friday nights, but who would really like to have fun and be part of the Purim Spiel.
That will be great. Thank you. I wasn't even aware of that. So to conclude tonight, I just wanted to do a little bit of sharing of a little openness with you all today. My mind is like my internet browser. I have 19 tabs open, 3 are frozen, and I have no idea where the music is coming from. Shabbat Shalom.
I like that. That was great. That was great.
And I always accept cookies.
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah. I also want to just mention, just because there's a lot going on, March 5th, as we mentioned, that's our Purim Spiel. That's going to be a really big event here at the synagogue. March 6th is Purim proper. And so on the evening of March 6th, we're going to be meeting with our friends at Temple Beth El at a local establishment that serves adult beverages of some such, and we're going to have a little Purim experience there as well. And on March 22nd, we have a concert co-sponsored by Federation, Beth Shalom, and Temple Beth El. Right here, we have Nefesh Mountain coming in, one of the really top premier Jewish music groups of our time right now, so that's really exciting as well. There's a lot, and it's a good a lot. What? And Sisterhood's baking, and I appreciate Sisterhood pitching in for that one as well. They're always so wonderful helping us out to make our events even more special and more calorically challenging. So thank you for that as well. We appreciate it. Let's turn to page.
You know what? It is
That can't
on
be
page
right.
653
Yes.
or 349. We're going to be singing Eli, Eli in both Hebrew and English. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, hakol vehayam, rish urush shel hamayim, birak hashamayim, tvilat ha'adam, hakol vehayam, rish urush shel hamayim, birak hashamayim, tvilat adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the seas, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the praise of the heart.
Let's all rise together for Motzi.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as this joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Are we meeting in the next room for coffee?
Yes.